Qué rollo, quiero mandar un saludo a mi amigo Goodfella de parte de tu amigo Jaime Munguía. Un abrazo, canal. Ánimo.
All right, man. Bob Arum saying some crazy stuff. He said that Fury would beat Ali, but also he's saying that it's a possibility that Usyk and Fury could fight in Saudi Arabia. If AJ step aside, okay. You hear AJ, he might think about it as a business meeting. See Eddie say no. You hear Eddie say yeah. I mean, they think the ace card, the ace in the hole or the ace in the back pocket is that, Fury win or Usyk win, it becomes, you still got the biggest European fighting in boxing history, and UK fighting boxing history might be the biggest fight in European history. So, one of. So, as long as somebody don't retire, you're still there. And I think it's so much money that's involved in the fight. I don't think anybody, the winner could walk away or the loser. But hold on. Yeah, I'm still under the weather, but yeah, I don't think anybody can walk away with that type of money that AJ bring now, because Usyk stepping aside for Fury and Wilder. I mean Usyk for Fury and AJ to fight. Then I understand, because then Usyk doesn't bring that money, so I wouldn't step aside if I was Usyk. But here we are. And it says top ranked promoter Bob Arum says that they're trying to work out a deal for Anthony Joshua to step aside so the WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury can face IBF, WBA, WBO champion Oleksandr Usyk for the undisputed championship in March in Saudi Arabia. Conversations have already begun to get former champion Joshua to step aside so that Fury or Usyk contest can take place in March in Saudi. Joshua promoter Eddie Hearn confirmed that talks have already started for a potential step aside deal on Friday. Arum states that if AJ and Joshua chooses not to step aside, Fury 31-0-1, 22 big ones will defend against mandatory Dillian White in Manchester, England. Fury Usyk is the works for Saudi Arabia. Anthony Joshua Cole lost to Usyk, so who now has some of the belts, and we're trying to get there's a rematch clause for Joshua to step aside so that Tyson can fight Usyk for all 4 belts. That would be a unified title, said Arum to Rich Eisen, to the Rich Eisen show. Shout out to Rich Eisen, Michigan man, fan just like me. He's Michigan man. We're talking about doing it. Fury and Usyk in Saudi Arabia, which wants to stage the fight in March. Hopefully, it'll come together. If it doesn't, Joshua insists on a rematch with Usyk, then Fury will just fight Dillian White, which is the number 1 contender to WBC. Quote, we'll do that fight. Excuse me, as excuse me, sort of a homecoming for Tyson Fury in the arena in Manchester, where he's from. Arum said Fury's plan B is Usyk fight fails to happen. Joshua will be a problem if he refuses to step aside, as he's hell bent on taking a rematch with Usyk to avenge his humiliating 12-round unanimous decision loss on September 25th in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, England. Although Joshua has been repeatedly advised by boxing fans not to take the immediate rematch with Usyk, he's still determined on take the fight at all costs. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let him fight. Let Dillian White get smashed, and we can enjoy that. And I'm not even sure if AJ chose a coach yet. It sounds like, where it's looking like he chose to stick with Rob McCracken. So, I mean, for Fury, why don't you get back in the ring in great time? Then by the summer or the fall, we could fight Usyk. That's what AJ want. That's what he get. Or maybe AJ win either war. What's messing up for the fans is that the British fans won't get to see AJ and Fury if we lose to Usyk, or let's Fury say, I still get AJ a chance. My thing is why? Why take the risk of getting beat up by a guy who lost 3 times already? To a guy that you probably beat for undisputed. It'll just be for the UK fans and for the money. You know. So I mean, ultimately, man, you always want to see undisputed, but AJ deserves his crack. If they can't give AJ the financial package to step aside, then that's a good fight. Him and Usyk again. When anything changes, it depends on the fighters. Did Usyk go and party and get fat and treat him like a king over there in Ukraine? He could have. That's a huge accomplishment going up there beating Anthony Joshua, but I don't think so. Somebody that's been programmed to be a boxing killer his whole life, I don't think he would do the Roberto Duran. But for Anthony Joshua, that'd have to be the hope that this dude to go back home, get whatever woman he want to get, his wife get him what fantasy he want to get, eat good, sleep good, have sex good, wake up, do it all again. And probably think he could beat AJ in his sleep. And be overconfident so I could wake up, do a couple push-ups, sit-ups, hit the bag, and beat AJ. That has to be AJ Hope, and AJ will have to be working right now. And not working just to work, not working just to be in condition, not working just to, just to be working. You got to work smart. You got to work on your front leg being too stiff. You got to work in the majority of your weight being over your chin, being over your right knee, all your weight being on your front foot. You got to work on being balanced. You got to work on footwork. You got to work on coming in lean and fluid and flexible. And you got to work on rhythm. You got to work on moving your head off the line. It's just a lot of things you got to work on. Which he may be like, the hell with it. I might just go on there, use my size, bully him, and just obliterate him. But in look in the future, you can't do Fury like that. And it might be a chance you might hit him, but if you can't bully Fury like that, you got to think of fighting guys in the future. If it's a Ruiz we mentioned, if it's Wilder, if it's Fury, or if I beat AJ and Usyk, I'm just gonna retire. Fine, but you still got to polish up some things if you're gonna fight Tyson Fury. You still got to polish up some things. You still got to learn to move your head to slip and weave again on the inside. You still got to get all your weight on your front foot, your chin hanging over your front foot. You got to, fix your posture. Get on your toes. You got to worry about your weight. The skinny, fluid, thin Anthony Joshua was the best one. So those are things that he got to worry about. Fainting. How to use your hand speed, how to get your feet, how to get your position, how to get your balance. How I'm gonna worry about doing strength conditioning. I'm not gonna drop the weight, so you should. Pull-ups, push-ups, dips, calisthenics, more running, more pool work, more road work, more running the bleachers, running stadiums. What am I eating? Less protein. All those type of things. He got a lot of uphill battle. It's not just about beating Usyk. Wilder, Fury, or or at least Fury. That's what it's about. So like I said, of course the competitor want to beat Usyk. No doubt. No doubt. But you gotta worry about beating AJ too. Fury too. You just can't run over Fury. You just can't run over everybody. You can't. So you gotta think about doing shit for future opponents too. And that's where skills come in there. He got the athleticism, stiff front leg, chin hanging over the front foot, all the weight on the front foot. Balance will help him out a lot. And figuring out physically what he want to do with his weight. But as you see here, Hiram says Fury beats Muhammad Ali. He always comparing some fighter to another black fighter. If it's a black fighter, Shakur and all his other black fighters, they fluid, this, that, and the third. So he said top rank boss believe 6'9" Fury would be too much for Muhammad Ali, who was a lot smaller, 6'2", 205. Well, he said Fury, well, my thing is this. Fury got put on his ass by a cruiserweight and Steve Cunningham. He got put on his ass by Deontay Wilder. Muhammad Ali is a great fighter, and they have better technique, better conditioning back then. I still pick Muhammad Ali. I don't care. Size don't win fights. You know, a lot of those old school guys beat Tyson Fury, not because if he's so great big, why he has so many shaky moments in his career. So, like I said before, he's a good fighter, but we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Check the heavyweight boxing playlist out, boxing news playlist out. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Want to make a financial donation? Cash App CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link description. It's the little tornado thing. Let me know what you guys think.